rolling?
Yep.
Okay. So I haven't checked in for a little while. Over the past 2 weeks, I am still getting in miles. Had a harder couple weeks. I was hoping, I think I was in week 6 and 5 or week 7 and 6, I can't remember, leading up to. So I was really hoping that that would be my peak weeks where I'd actually feel the best too. So get the most miles and feel the best. Turns out I felt the worst, which I guess kind of makes sense. It's been going for a little while, but the past 2 weeks, that first week I got 75 miles, and then this past week I got 68 miles. Did a decent bit of vert that 75-mile week, but this week really didn't do much, stayed to the flats. So my body feels rough. It feels good now, but I think I needed a couple weeks to kind of get it back to good shape. But my muscles and my muscles and my thighs feel like they're torn up, and things are just stiff. And it's hard to get a good open stride going. But I have started in on some speed work. I think I got the order wrong, but first block did a foundation of just getting good mileage in. Second block, I went peak mileage, so trying to chase 100-mile weeks, or at least get between 80 and 100. And then I was planning for this next few weeks, which is kind of sort of going as planned, but to start incorporating some speed work and try to get my VO2 max up, because it'll be up at elevation. So I figure if I can get my heart rate, I don't know what to call it, sufficient, that it would benefit me up in the mountains. So I did get this sauna tent. It's claustrophobic in there, but the zippers are glow in the dark, so that's cool. But I think to myself, man, if I were to pass out in the garage, I'd be done. But I'm not gonna pass out. And then I got a little ice, what do you call it? Ice blow up ice bucket thing that you sit in. So I'm gonna start doing intervals between that sauna box and the ice thing, and that's supposed to help. It's kind of interesting watching my heart rate, because in the sauna it sits at about 80, and then I jump into the ice bath. My heart rate actually jumps up to like sometimes 120 was last night, and then it drops way down to like 45 in the span of that 6 minutes that I'm sitting in there. So that's kind of crazy, but I don't know if that's good. But when I did it for wrestling, I felt like I was in the best shape of my life. So incorporating that, and then just trying to click off the weeks here. So this week will kind of be my last week chasing some bigger miles. We'll see what we can put together this week. I think my main goal leading up here, I'm close enough to the race where I don't want to get injured. I know I've done a lot of training. I've been thinking about this race since last September, and I've never run so consistently in my life. So I feel like, I'm kind of at where I'm at, and I'm going to throw together what I can. But these next few weeks, it's more important that I just stay uninjured rather than try to chase these big mileage weeks, and maybe I'm close enough where it doesn't even really matter anymore. And maybe the best thing I can do is just focus on a bit of recovery, keep my legs fresh. So I'll do that speed work, and hopefully I'll make a difference, and then we'll roll into it. But for Mammoth, I've got my crew pretty much locked in. I got Jen Hayworth here in town, Jason Surrett here in town, both really good runners. And then I got my best friend Kagan. They're my 3 pacers. So I'm going to throw 60 miles at Jen and Chasen, and then somewhere between 20 and 30 with Kagan. And then we'll see how it goes. I think I know that whatever we plan will fall apart. So we're just going to go in and have some fun. For eating, I'm thinking about McDonald's. and I'm thinking about Spam Musubis for aid stations. I haven't totally figured that process out, but I know I've just been, the calorie dense stuff. A lot of good runners that I've seen just on YouTube. Anyway, you can probably tell that I have not figured out the food part yet. We're gonna get there. So I just gotta get some gear locked in. I got multiple family members of mine actually come into crew, and it's coming up quick. So okay, this past weekend I've been doing terrible on content, but I could have gotten a lot of good content this past weekend because a lot happened. I went up to Sisters, Oregon Cascades 100 miler. Was going, and Sisters, they had just had a fire start Thursday, which I didn't know. So I rolled in Saturday at like 1 p.m. to pace Jen and Chasen, who were running the event. That was the first time I realized that there was even a fire going on there, and it was hot. It was like 93 degrees. So I knew it was going to be just a rough day for them. So finally get picked up by Chasen's wife, who was going to shuttle me to their aid station where I'd link up with them and pace them to the back half of the race. But they weren't having a good day at all. And they ended up dropping at, I think it was like mile 40. And then I figured I was up there anyway, so I didn't really want to drive home, and I had planned to get 50 miles that week. Selfishly, I was like, I gotta get some miles in because I'm just counting on that big day to kind of wrap up my weekly mileage. So I got dropped off at mile 73 and actually ran backwards to try to track back on this guy named Gavin, who I knew he would be around mile 60. So I was trying to get to mile 60 and meet him there, and then run with him the rest of the way. Ended up meeting him towards that mark, and by that time it was like about 7 p.m. and the 50 milers pretty much run the same course towards the end. So they were in rough shape, so it's like back of the pack 50 milers because it's late and they're barely making it in, and it's smoky, and a couple guys were wearing masks, but I could just tell they were in rough shape. And the highlight, I saw this guy Greg Spike, who's a big inspiration for me. He's like 80, maybe 78, but might as well be 80. And I saw him up the trail, and I haven't seen him for like a year, but I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, what are you doing? Like it's smoky and it's like 90 degrees out, and this guy is just trucking along, and I'm like, how are you doing? He's like, I'm gonna pass out. That's not good. But I tried to stick with him for a little bit, and he's like, nah, don't stick with me. So I didn't respect his wishes, and I continued on to try to find Gavin up the trail. So anyway, I kind of skipped over the story a little bit. I'm jumping around, but got a hold of Gavin. By that time, sun was coming down, and there was this trail called Skyliners Ridge, I think it is, but you come up over a ridge, and so it was pretty dark getting up over this ridge, and that was the first time we saw the fire. And actually the smoke had kind of cleared by that point. Like when I started running at 5 p.m. it was pretty smoky, and then by this like 8 it kind of cleared out. So I don't know if the wind shifted a little bit, but you could see the stars, the sky was kind of clear, I could breathe a little bit better. And we crossed over that ridge, and sure enough, there's just a long line of fire. And I remember being that close to a fire like that. But you could see, from our ridge, you could see Sisters Town, and then you could see like just a line of fire and some bigger flames, but mostly just kind of a steady line that was just glowing off of the landscape there. So it almost looked like a really nice sunset, but not light at all, because people were actually getting evacuated, and it was a pretty serious fire. It is a pretty serious fire. I think it's still going. So that was just crazy. I remember thinking, it's just one shift in the winds, and that thing could actually probably get to us. So nonetheless, I was like, yeah, whatever. If the race directors are not calling it off, then we'll finish. So Gavin's trucking along. He's doing really good. Like I think he was on pace for a sub 22, and he's looking good. He was in good spirits, so it was more of a bummer for him. But we got towards the aid station, mile 73, and there's a guy getting carried out in like a bag, which I was thinking, this is a bad way to think, but apparently he's getting carried for like 3 hours. And in a lot of these ultras, you feel like shit like really, really bad for a little while, and then if you stop for like an hour, you usually just kind of start to feel okay. Every 2 hours, especially if you're laying down and you've got some liquids and stuff. But anyway, I was just thinking about this guy, like being carried by these people in this bag, and like an hour and a half in, he's like coming to and feeling okay, like he can run. He can probably get up and run, and he just feels committed to staying in this bag because they're all carrying him out at this point. But anyway, or not, or he was actually dying. But either way, the race ended up getting canceled because the fire was close, and it was kind of crazy. Everybody was panicking, and the race director looked extremely stressed out. And aid station people were leaving, like the volunteers, because some of them lived in Sisters, and they were trying to get to their homes to kind of get their stuff out. So it was kind of a chaotic ending, and that's it. It was a crazy day. It was a fun day, in a way, and it's fun to see. I love the sport. I mean, that was kind of a bad ending, but to see like 50 milers come through, especially they're the back of the pack guys, so they're just trucking through, trying to get it done, and I just love seeing people push. It's so fun. It is so fun. So anyway, and I knew how I feel on a trail. I usually am feeling pretty lonely because surprisingly you get spread out enough that you just never talk to anybody, and it could be hours and you just don't talk to anybody. So for me, just seeing a smiling face is always a great thing. So every single person that passed, I at least try to smile and tell them good job, clipped along with my little pose, clapped with my little pose. So I had fun, but that was it. So it was an eventful Saturday, and everybody in my circle is safe, and I hope everybody in other circles are safe as well. In Sisters, it was serious. Kind of joked around a little bit about it, but I think for a group of people it was serious. So bummer for Gavin because he was doing well, but that was his first 100 miler, and it got stopped short at mile 73, and it sucks because I know a lot of those guys put in a lot of training. Gavin, and then even Jen and Jason, they put in a ton of training and didn't get the day that they wanted, which sometimes how it goes. Sometimes you work really hard for something and you just don't get it, and then you just gotta go get the next best thing, hopefully. But, yeah.